Imagine a young couple documenting their dream cross-country road trip. Beautiful landscapes, social media posts showing the perfect life, thousands of followers watching their adventure. But behind the camera, something was terribly wrong. In September 2021, Gabby Petito was reported missing. Her fiancé returned home alone in her van. He refused to talk. Days later, her body was found in Wyoming. This is the story that captivated the nation and sparked a massive search. This is Cold Trail. Gabrielle Petito, known as Gabby, was 22 years old. She lived in Blue Point, New York, with her fiancé Brian Laundrie. Gabby dreamed of becoming a travel influencer. She wanted to document adventures and inspire others. She was creative, kind, and loved photography. In July 2021, Gabby and Brian set out on a cross-country road trip in a converted white Ford Transit van. They planned to visit national parks and document everything on social media. It was supposed to be the adventure of a lifetime. Brian Laundrie was 23. He'd known Gabby since high school. They got engaged in 2020. Friends described Brian as quiet, artistic, and into nature, but some noticed concerning signs. Witnesses would later describe arguments, tension, control. On the surface, Brian and Gabby looked like the perfect couple. Their social media showed happiness and adventure, but the reality was different. Something dark was happening. Something that would end in tragedy and captivate millions searching for answers. July 2nd, 2021, Gabby and Brian began their journey. They drove west from New York, heading toward national parks across America. Gabby posted regularly on Instagram and YouTube, beautiful photos, scenic locations, smiling selfies. Her account was gaining followers. Everything looked perfect. They visited Kansas, Colorado, Utah. They camped, hiked, explored. Thousands of people followed their journey, but behind the curated posts, the relationship was deteriorating. Arguments were becoming more frequent, more intense. The dream was turning into a nightmare. August 12th, 2021, Moab, Utah. Police responded to a domestic disturbance call. A witness saw Brian and Gabby arguing. Gabby appeared to hit Brian. Officers pulled them over. Body cam footage shows Gabby crying, upset, saying she has anxiety. Brian appeared calm, collected. He had scratches on his face. Police separated them for the night. They classified it as a mental health crisis, not domestic violence. Officers let them go with a warning. This footage would later haunt investigators. It was a warning sign everyone missed. Late August, Gabby's communications with family became less frequent. August 25th, she FaceTimed her mother from Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. August 27th, a text message. "Can you help Stan with his phone?" Stan was Gabby's grandfather, but Gabby never called him Stan. Her mother felt something was wrong. August 30th, another text. "No service in Yosemite." But Gabby wasn't in Yosemite. She was in Wyoming. Something was very wrong. These would be the last messages from Gabby's phone. She was already gone. September 1st, 2021, Brian Laundrie returned to his parents' home in Northport, Florida, alone, driving Gabby's van. Without Gabby, he didn't report her missing, didn't contact her family. He just came home and stayed silent. Gabby's family tried calling Brian, no response. They called his parents, no response. Days passed, no word from Gabby, no explanation from Brian. On September 11th, 10 days after Brian returned, Gabby's family filed a missing person report. The search began, and Brian hired a lawyer. And Gabby's disappearance became a national obsession. Her story went viral on social media. Millions followed the case. TikTok users analyzed her Instagram posts frame by frame, looking for clues. Amateur detectives studied maps, reviewed timelines. People who'd been in the same areas checked their photos and dashcam footage. The case captivated America. Why? Gabby was relatable, young, documenting her life online. People felt they knew her, and Brian's silence was infuriating. What was he hiding? Where was Gabby? The pressure mounted. September 14th, 2021, Brian's parents reported him missing. They claimed he'd gone hiking in the Carlton Reserve, a vast Florida wilderness area, on September 13th and never returned. Now, both Gabby and Brian were missing. The FBI launched a massive search of the reserve. Helicopters, drones, K-9 units, but the reserve covered over 25,000 acres of dense swampland. Finding someone there was nearly impossible. Was Brian dead? Hiding? Running? The case became even more bizarre, and America demanded answers. September 19th, 2021, human remains were found in Grand Teton National Park, Wyoming, near where Gabby and Brian had camped. The body was identified as Gabrielle Petito. Cause of death: strangulation. Manner: homicide. Gabby had been murdered. Her body left in the wilderness for weeks. The coroner estimated she'd been dead since late August. The nation mourned. Vigils were held. Gabby's family was devastated, and everyone asked the same question: where is Brian Laundrie? The only person of interest was missing in a swamp. The FBI declared Brian Laundrie a person of interest in Gabby's death. They issued a warrant for his arrest related to unauthorized use of her debit card after her death. The search of Carlton Reserve continued, but days turned into weeks. No sign of Brian. Dog the Bounty Hunter joined the search. Psychics offered theories. The public reported sightings across the country. Some thought he'd fled to Mexico. Others believed he was dead. His parents remained silent. Their lawyer spoke for them. The frustration was unbearable. Justice for Gabby seemed impossible. October 20th, 2021, Brian's parents went to Carlton Reserve to search. They found personal items belonging to Brian. They notified FBI. Search teams converged on the area. Human remains were discovered. Dental records confirmed it was Brian Laundrie. He'd been dead for weeks. Cause of death: self-inflicted gunshot wound. Near his body, investigators found a notebook. Inside, Brian had written a confession. He admitted killing Gabby, claimed it was mercy after she injured herself. The confession was self-serving and disturbing, but there would be no trial, no justice system reckoning. Brian's notebook confession provided some answers, but raised more questions. He wrote that Gabby had been injured and he ended her suffering. Investigators didn't believe this. The autopsy showed strangulation. Manual strangulation takes minutes. This wasn't mercy. This was murder. Brian's confession was an attempt to control the narrative, even in death, to paint himself as compassionate rather than violent. But the evidence told a different story. Brian killed Gabby. Then he ran. Then he took his own life to avoid accountability. The truth died with him. Gabby's family filed a civil lawsuit against Brian's parents, alleging they knew Gabby was dead while she was still listed as missing and helped Brian hide. The case was settled in 2024. Terms were not disclosed. The family also sued the Moab Police Department, arguing officers failed to recognize domestic violence signs during the August traffic stop. That case continues. Gabby's family established a foundation to help victims of domestic violence and families searching for missing loved ones. They turned their grief into purpose, fighting to prevent other tragedies. Gabby Petito was 22 years old. She wanted to travel, create, inspire. Instead, she became a symbol of domestic violence and the dangers hidden behind social media perfection. Her case sparked conversations about recognizing abuse signs. Hundreds of other missing persons cases gained attention because of the focus on Gabby. Her story reminded us that what we see online isn't always reality. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, reach out. Resources exist. You are not alone. This is Cold Trail. Subscribe and join us. Thanks for watching.